their power level always seems like if you do something, there's a cost. That's how it seems.
Well, the stronger you want to be, you have to make it like that. Like you can't just be like, "Oh, I'm gonna be the strongest," and then nothing can happen to me. It's like if you want the cheap shit, you gotta be willing to sacrifice something.
Sometimes those sacrifices are non-existent though.
Change, like I think that's the biggest thing. Like the restrict, like how Gone's thing is like the age and like all that shit. Like
Let's not even bring that up. That was trash.
I'm,
Let me repeat that. That was trash. Did you hear me that time?
he slowed it down to emphasize it too. Killua went through all that to save him. Like if it was just Gon working on his own, then he essentially killed himself to win that fight.
The individual fight from a writing perspective, that's just like a bad move because you give this person unlimited power. You just basically make him stronger, faster, more durable, basically everything he needs to defeat that opponent, and he has no misses that the opponent can take advantage of, and it's just a wash. And
well, that's not true because he lost like stuff during the fight. He just was like much stronger. The whole thing, he wanted the power to beat that person. He wasn't invincible. He was able to attack that person on that level, but he wasn't invincible. Like he could still be hurt, but he overwhelmed her with power. But that was the whole sacrifice. He basically had to give his life for that power to be able to beat her at that point in time. Like, yeah, he could have like trained, I guess, enough to like get up there, but that's not, the point of that contract that he made. He wanted that power immediately, so he had to give up what essentially would have amounted to the time of life that he would have had to spend to reach that point.
And that, but from Togashi as a writer, he should not have made that move because it's just broken. It's like you can basically make any character do that, and they just completely win their battle from then on.
No,
I mean,
there's no continuation.
No, like we have seen a clear consequence that makes it so like people just won't do this. First and foremost, most people don't even know you can do this. Like,
also,
don't understand how Nin actually works and that they can make a contract like that. Most people don't even fucking know that. So there's that, and that's established well before the Chimerian arc. Second, you're literally trying to say that the end of this contract, the thing he gave up, which is his life. We're not going to discuss what happens after this, but he decides to give up all the potential, all the fighting capability that he has, and his future lifespan. You're telling me those three things that he cannot reclaim are not worth getting the power level that he got for that one fight? Because he didn't say, I wanted this to take out everybody. I want the power to beat her, and I want it now. And this is what I'm willing to give up. You're telling me that's bad writing when you have a character who's so hurt because he lost the person that he was fighting for in the first place, that he's willing to give up everything from a
standpoint, yes, but from a writing, so you're talking about the emotion. Hold on. You're talking about the character and emotion. You're saying that it's really cool how he wanted to give up everything just to win that fight. I understand that, but the fact that you gave this person basically invincible power at the drop of a hat, and like the opponent basically had.
Wait.
And also, so let me ask you.
Can I get a chance? Because I'm letting everybody talk.
Go ahead.
All right. So what I want to say first of all is the reason I do not think it's bad. Okay. During the Chimera arc, did we not see other characters or even the Chimeras pull out moves? Maybe because of frustration. We've seen the Cheetah do it. He pulled out a whole new technique mid-fight, right?
Ability though, but I mean, go on.
Okay, so now another person we can use Kurapika. So in exchange of his life, he has the ability to take the Phantom Troops.
I think go on.
So why is it so far fetched for going to exchange his life to take down a stronger opponent as well?
My problem is not the well, I mean, there is part of the problem. Part of the problem, let me go in order. Part of the problem is that he gave up his future potential, right? But we do not know exactly what future potential is. So that's basically like the author's taking advantage of that wiggle room. And like, I think that's a little bit unfair because we don't know what he's going to look like in the future. If we knew what he was going to look like in the future, maybe that would have been a little bit more acceptable. But he basically just said, in the future, I'm just going to make him broken. We didn't know that beforehand. And then the second problem is that.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Hold on. Let me think.
Can I just reply to
Yeah,
that?
Go.
Okay, so as far as the future thing, like, of course we don't dead set no, but they have to establish something. Like, I mean, you're trying to meld logic with like anime, like, you know, stuff, like you're trying to pull real world logic into it. But even if we did that, like, we've seen him train, we've seen how hard he pushes himself. So why would it be far fetched for other people who can like be like, oh, I'm willing to give up this and that, for somebody to be like, give me this power, right? And they did. In fact, it would have been worse if they would have like not, if he would have been the same and just been stronger. Like the fact that they show like, okay, if you want this power, we have to progress your body to the point that it would actually been able to handle that power in the future, because at this point you wouldn't even be able to obtain that. It would take this X amount of time training to your maximum peak non-stop to reach this. And also after the biggest part to me is after, it's not like he won the fight, right? It wasn't like he was scot-free. He essentially died. There was like, they couldn't, from conventional means, they had him, of course they had him in the hospital and everything, but this man was like essentially a skeleton wrapped in bandages in a hospital bed on life support. Like, he couldn't do anything. Like, he was essentially dead. He had given up his life. The only reason he's still there is because, well, one, of course, he's the main character. It'd be kind of weird to like just eliminate him from the story completely. And secondly, I guess you could say, what's that, the character who can like grant the wishes is kind of like Deus Ex, but I mean, they've always had her there. They have a whole backstory. They show different instances and also the repercussions of the character. Granted, it's like, you know, with Kaluuya, there's a difference with it, but they show all this stuff. But that's not anything because of Gon. It's not like he knew this. It's not like he prepared for this. He went in with the knowledge that he would most likely die, but he just wanted the power to win this fight at whatever the expense was of himself. Like, it's not like he was like, I'm gonna win this fight and then somehow work my way around it. He was like, no, I basically want revenge for this person dying, and if I have to die, so be it. Which is why it was so strong, because he was like, I will die in exchange for basically this person who killed my friend's life.
I just wanted to reply to that part where you said we don't know his potential. I think as far as that, I feel like up until that point, if you watch the series from beginning until the end of the Chimera Ant arc, I think that his potential is kind of supposed to be kind of implied, because they gave you specific points in the series where you got to see where his potential actually flashed in different moments. That's why the leader of the Hunter Academy, or the Hunter whatever, that's why he wanted to train with Kaluuya and Gon. Also, his father was super strong, and that was well known. And you know, his father thought he was going to be strong. So I mean, I just expectations for Gone and Kaluuya were just different.
All right. I'll get back to the fighting part later, but I'm gonna still continue about the contract. While I still don't like the lifespan problem, I do think that it's better than whatever we got with Gon because he's so I mean, what's his name? Kurapika, we get a specific number on how many minutes he loses of his lifespan each second he's inside the Scarlet Eyes mode. While we don't know his lifespan, we at least get like data. For Gon, there are two problems. A, they just say he gets this potential. He so his contract was that he gets the potential from his future self if he just kept working hard, right? If he just kept training.
Well, I'll say he gets the potential of if he trained to the best of his ability. I guess just
Well,
on
the
a
best way to say it is the contract that he made is to attain the power level that he would be able to get at his peak. So that's
Okay.
all of his
All right.
potential, all of his natural talent combined with training.
Okay. So, damn, I lost my train of thought. One of my problems is that he was able to get something that we do not. Oh, all right. The first problem is that we don't know how long Gon was gonna live, so we do not know how much power he would have gotten if we like multiply his potential by the amount of time that he lived. If we had maybe gotten the amount of time that he would have lived for, it would have been understandable. The second problem is that he just got all the power, assuming that he trained to his peak, and I think that's kind of like, I think that's kind of cheating because what if he doesn't train? What if he hadn't trained to his peak in the future? So like, you understand that?
No, I understand what
But
you're saying.
but,
That's
but
what I
that
mean.
wouldn't have made sense for the contract because it wasn't like he said, "I want to train to if I live to 30." He didn't say that. He said, "I want the power." He essentially said, "I want to win." So they gave him
But I
the
think
power to win.
it's taking advantage of factors that do not exist. And I think that's kind of unfair because it's taking advantage of the fact his age. We don't know how long he's going to live, but that's kind of complicated. But like if we multiply his age by the amount of potential he has or how much he would have trained for, we could actually maybe come up with an idea of how strong he would be. But we're not given an age of what his transformation was. We are not given an age of how long he would have lived in the future. And then the second problem is that he just gets all that power, assuming that he would have trained in the future. And I feel like that's kind of cheating.
Well,
My only
that's
issue
kind
with
of
that. Oh,
with
I
the
was gonna
Gaunt's-
say
Go ahead.
no. I was gonna
Yeah,
say
who's
my
gonna go
only
first?
issue with that is because that what you're saying is completely understandable, and I would
Right.
actually be in agreement with you if it weren't for the actual consequences, because his age progression isn't the consequence. Like him getting older, getting taller, growing and all that stuff isn't a consequence. His age is actually a non-factor. It's just like a catalyst to show how strong he is compared. Like when you show his little boy body compared to grown man gone, then it just kind of gives you a representation of like how much power he's obtained. That him being an adult isn't a consequence. That's not his problem. The problem is it's like after he uses that, no matter what he uses it for, he essentially dies. And it's like, I guess you could say like it would be cheap because he could win any fight, but at the same time you only get one fight. Of course, now we know he's gonna get multiple fights because of everything that Kaluuya did for him. But as I said, that's like an external source. I'm holding that contract to just go things that he can control. And what he could control after agreeing to that contract was essentially he gets the fight, and then once his contract is complete, he has to give up his life. There's nothing he could change about that. And of course, like I'm sure he in the moment he would be fine with that, but of course he would want to live a longer life. Like he still wanted to see his dad. He still like had all this other shit. He still wanted to hang out with his friends and all that other shit. And of course, he doesn't actually want to give that up. But in that moment, he was willing to give up all of these dreams and aspirations and things. That's the only like I get like what you're saying about like it's hard to quantify how he would get this strong, but then it goes to that point where you have to start making educated get like you would start having to like estimate if you limit him to like if you actually start quantifying and putting whole numbers like how they used to do in DBZ when they used to do like actual power
No,
levels
no, I'm
in
not
Red
asking
Soul.
for power levels. I'm just asking for like at least some kind of rough estimate.
I thought they did mention his age or like what his body progressed his age to. I may be wrong. It's been a minute since I've like seen that, but I thought they did mention like his body progressed to like something like late 20s, early 30s, something like that. Like
I don't remember that.
it's been
I mean,
a
I
minute,
could
but
be wrong.
I fairly remember they mentioned like they didn't say he aged to that point. They said his body matured to like or that of a middle-aged adult or something. It was weird how they phrased it, but I'm pretty sure it's like right after he did it or like in that range, like right after he got it or right before the fight started. They mentioned like the maturity of his body.
Did you want to say something, Uwe?
So that form is there's no hard like I get where you're at now. I get where you're at now. So when he takes
I mean, I got more problems, but yeah.
when he makes that contract, he is not asking for any kind of specific power. He's taking the maximum value for everything. Not necessarily.
That's
saying
part of my
that
problem because of how
this
loose
where
it is.
we'll go. This is like if I did everything that I could, how powerful would I be?
And that's why I think it's kind of cheating.
Well, I mean, dude, I don't know how to like say that for the consequences. I don't consider that cheating because the trade-off is extreme enough for the power that he's getting. You always talk about like you want things that have consequences. What's a bigger consequence than a fighter not being able to fight? Shit.
I care about
being able to
consequence
resist.
and balance. And then balance is the another problem with that power. It reminds me of the ending of part 5, how he just got like this invincible power. It doesn't even matter how fast he got it. He got like this basically a problem solver. He was in a predicament. Giorno was in a predicament, and he got like the perfect power to just like solve all of his problems. It didn't have like he didn't have to use it intelligently. It didn't have weaknesses and strengths. It didn't have anything that his opponent could have like taken advantage of, and he had to think around that. No, he just got like this power that would immediately solve his problems. And I feel like that's what happened with this power up as well.
Well, first off, you're comparing JoJo to anything else. And as far as JoJo is concerned, there's nothing that can be compared to JoJo but JoJo.
What does that mean?
That's
The
like
absurdity that JoJo occurs on. Like you're
JoJo is not that absurd. I feel like people overstate that. Like, it's quirky. Yes.
What was that? His whole thing was he was like a close range fighter, and then they just like let
Okay,
him start.
Starfinger. Yeah, Starfinger was bad. That was bad writing as well.